Good morning to all. Wishing you and your family a very joyful Eid. I am going to start our second bit of Unit 1 under CPS 3 paper, which is Objectives of Teaching Learning of Physical Science at Secondary Level. So, let's start our class with a beautiful thought. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, have to keep moving forward. So, to proceed in our life towards our growth and success, we should fix our aim or goal. Every planned activity poses a fixed aim or expectations from the activity. So, today we will discuss about the objectives, which is also a part of this aim, and also we will know about the difference between these two. So, first we will discuss about an objective. So, what is an objective? The whole educational system is directed towards aims which lead to an all-round development of the student. For the teacher, it is practically impossible to realize all these aims, for they involve a total program of education encompassing not only school but also out of school experiences. Thus, the school program is only a part of the total educational program. So, we can say that the part of the aims which a school can hope to achieve is called an objective. Hence, an objective is a part of an aim, a narrow term, where compared to an aim. So, the term objective may therefore defined as an objective is a point or an end view of the possible achievement in terms of what a student is able to do when the whole educational system is directed towards educational aim. So from this figure we can see that objective is a part of the total aim or expectation or final goal of the school or our education system. So now come to the second bit, need for framing objectives. Objectives provide detailed description of the abilities and values the teacher wants to instill among the students. They are the learning products that the teacher hopes will result from the instruction, whether in lesson, a unit or a curriculum. Objectives are helpful in providing the frame of reference for decisions about the selection and organization of content. Objectives also reflect the mode of instruction and techniques of evaluation. Next, come to the difference between aims and objectives. So, aims are directions in education, but objectives are end point of possible achievement. The attainment of aims is beyond the scope of school as it involves all-round growth. These are specific, immediate and attainable goals. So here objectives are specific, immediate and attainable goals, but aims involves all-round growth. Aims are direction encompassing the entire educational system in and out of school, but objectives vary from subject to subject. If objectives are realized by stages, an educational aim may be achieved one day. But objectives originate from aim, the attainment of which are steps towards the achievement of educational aim. Aims are broad and general. They are not much used to teacher, but objectives are meaningful to teachers as they are specific, precise and clearly defined. So next, come to the criteria for the selection of objectives. The objectives should be formulated in the light of the needs of the society, nature of the subject and the nature of the pupils. In selecting objectives, various criteria may be used. Generally accepted criteria for the student of a good objective are that they should be in line with the aims of education, specific in terms of means, ends and time frame, useful for the student, feasible for application. Here Thorber and Collett have suggested the criteria for selecting objectives as usefulness. The desired learning should have value in the lives of the students. Next is timeliness. Learning should be concerned with familiar material with absolute desires and ideas. Third one is fitness. The learning should fit into sequence learning towards broader objectives. Fourth one is appropriateness. The extent of expected learning should coincide with the maturity and background of the pupils concerned. Last one is practicability. Experiences needed for the development of the learning should be possible. So next, come to the classification of the objectives. Here objectives are classified into three types or three parts. First one is cognitive, second one is affective, and third one is psychomotor. So cognitive part focus on mind, affective part focus on emotion, psychomotor focus on the body. Here cognitive part deals with recall and recognitions of knowledge and development of intellectual abilities. Affective part includes objectives of interest, attitudes, values and development of appreciation and adjustment. And last part psychomotor includes objectives of skills, that is motor skill. So we can say that it was the view of the group that objectives should be stated in behavior which can be observed and described. It was also agreed that taxonomy developed should have educational, logical and psychological basis. So in that basis we can classify our objective into four parts. So first one is knowledge objective. The pupil acquires knowledge of fact, terms, concept, principles in the field of physical science. Here specification is that the student recalls facts, concepts, principles, etc. and also recognizes different scientific instruments, device, etc. Next one is understanding objective. The student develops understanding of facts, concepts, principles, laws, etc. and in specification they can illustrate a phenomenon or principle by an example, gives proofs both experimental and theoretical where available. They can discriminate between closely related concepts and instruments, compares and contrasts the related concept and find out the similarities and dissimilarities between them, express a given specific scientific idea or statement in different ways. They also identify an error in given the statement or in the arrangement of the apparatus and suggest how to remedy the same. Also judge the adequacy of the given data for the solution of a familiar problem. Use appropriate units for expressing various quantities. Assess the various sources of error and suggest how to minimize them, and make simple calculation based on the scientific relationships. Next one is application objective. Here the student applies his knowledge to a new or unfamiliar situation. Here the specification is that the student explain a happening or phenomenon, substantiates arguments, develops an experimental procedure to test or verify a given situation or hypothesis, modifies or develops an alternative experimental procedure to test or verify the knowledge of a situation, suggests a plan to improvise a scientific appliance, predicts a happening, infers results from relevant data, finds new knowledge of various appliances known to him, locates a problem and suggests a rival hypothesis. Next come to the skill based objective. Here the student develops experimental skills. In specification, they can judge arrangements of patterns of apparatus, materials, etc. They can show a keen sense of observation, handles the instruments, apparatus and material, arranges and uses them properly. Then the remedies the defects, repairs different appliances available in the labs and also in daily life, improvises simple equipment, open and reasonables some simple instruments here, and also the student draws graphs, charts and prepare tables under which in specification they can show a sense of proportion, draws diagram in the same sequence and organize according to the actual arrangement of apparatus, draw, draws diagrams with reasonable speed and accuracy, uses proper techniques and instruments in drawing diagram, construct tables and charts to record and present the data in an effective manner, and takes measurement accurately, observing necessary precautions. So if we will focus on the difference between knowledge, understanding, application and skill, we can see that knowledge, recall and recognition of information and apparatus, understanding using knowledge in a familiar situation, in application using knowledge, understanding in an unfamiliar situation, and in skills, manipulative and motor skills. So that means here knowledge, first recognize and recall the fact, then understanding include knowledge, then application includes knowledge and understanding, then attitude, interest, appreciation, which include knowledge, understanding and application, and last one is skill, which includes knowledge, understanding, application, attitudes, interest and appreciation. Now come to the general objectives of teaching of physical science in schools. The objectives for the science curriculum should be determined by the need of the people. Here Thorber and Collett have rightly stated, science can justify its place in the curriculum only when it produces important changes in young people, changes in their ways of thinking, in their habit of action, and in the values they assign to what they have and what they do. So, there are some objectives for teaching science in school curriculum are towards better understanding of nature of science. Yet the students should begin to understand the cumulative nature of scientific knowledge. After studying science, the people should acquire knowledge of the following: fundamental principles and concepts useful in daily life, a body of fact to understand scientific literature, interrelationship and interdependence of different branches of science, knowledge of general rules of health and human body. Second one is towards acquisition of skill. Exposure to scientific concept both in the classroom and in the laboratory leads to acquisition of following skills in the pupil: experimental skills, handling apparatus and instruments, arranging apparatus for an experiment and preserving chemicals, apparatus, etc. Constructional skills of making improvised aids, making minor repairs when things go wrong in the laboratory. Drawing skills involving drawing diagrams of experiments done and specimen observed. Problem solving skill, observational skill like taking readings and noting color change. Third one is towards development of scientific attitudes. The students should begin to develop scientific attitude characterized by open-mindedness, curiosity, tolerance, honest doubt, respect for another's point of view, critical observation and thought, freedom from superstition, judgment made on scientific fact, faith in cause and effect relationship, and a planned procedure in solving problems. Next one is towards training in scientific method. As a result of science education, the students should habitually and skillfully employ sound thinking habits in meeting problem situations in daily works of life, He should be able to adopt the following steps in problem solving by sensing a problem, defining a problem, collecting relevant evidence, organizing and interpreting the data, formulating the hypothesis, testing its validity and accuracy, the drawing rational conclusions. Next one is towards development of interest and appreciation. The teaching of science should enable a student to develop and enjoy personal interest, some of which are related to science. The student should be able to recognize and enjoy some specific aspects of their natural and man-made environment. The student could be encouraged by including in science curriculum varied activities like science clubs, exhibitions and excursions and the like. Next one is towards helping the students fit themselves better into society. The science curriculum gives extensive practice in working together, both in large and small groups, thus promoting cooperation and tolerance, besides enhancing self-confidence and self-reliance among students. The students can practice in conducting their projects, etc., independently, contacts with outside world. Last one is towards helping the students develop suitable career interest. The science curriculum should prepare the student for some vocation and specialization in individual subjects and professional courses like engineering, medicine, aeronautics, sericulture and so on. So these all are the objectives, general objectives of physical science at secondary school level. So today's discussion is this much. Thank you.